this way. Hard to find new words to say. A thing about the bad old days we used to know. Nights of winter turn me cold. Fears of dying, getting old. We're on the race was won.
Hey everyone, it's Richard Wiegand, aka Ricky Molina, from the Ricky Molina YouTube channel. Glad you could be with me today. The purpose of today's video is twofold. First of all, I'd like to take an opportunity to thank Rick Beato for standing up for his fellow musicians and YouTubers by having trekked all the way to Washington, D.C. to provide testimony in front of a Senate subcommittee with regards to fair use practices. And secondly, I'd like to share my own suggestions for how we can improve regulations in America with regards to the subject of fair use. So I would strongly suggest that you check out Rick Beato's channel, where he actually shares his experiences testifying in front of the subcommittee in Washington. I also produced a video a couple of months ago with regards to plagiarism in music. And as a composer and songwriter myself, I just wanted to share some of the things we should be aware of as creators and creating music videos on YouTube. The concept of fair use with regards to music specifically is a subsection of the copyright law of 1976 in the United States. Now, Rick Beato has this gripe against Don Henley, especially, who's been really uptight about anybody like going near and touching his music. And he really sounds like this old man really getting frustrated with, the whole music industry and everybody out there, and he's just paranoid. Now, the irony of it all is that the Eagles themselves, Don Henley and Don Felder particularly, ripped off the chord progression phrase for Hotel California from a song that was written by Jethro Tull in the 1970s called We Used to Know. Now, the Jethro Tull song is in 6/8 time as opposed to 4/4 time, as is the case with Hotel California. But if I play you the main progression from the Jethro Tull song, We Used to Know, you can notice a striking resemblance to Hotel California. And it's not like the Eagles weren't familiar with Jethro Tull. In fact, the Eagles opened up for Jethro Tull in the early 70s. And so Felder and Henley most likely were quite aware of the song We Used to Know. So allow me to play a few measures from the Jethro Tull song, give you an idea of what I'm talking about. You may be able to notice the resemblance between We Used to Know and Hotel California. So it's in 6/8 time. It goes like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Whenever I get to feel this way, hard to find you words to say, I think about all the battle days we used to know. Which is not all that far away from etc., etc. So isn't it ironic that a guy like Don Henley and Felder are pointing fingers at everybody else for ripping off people's music when they themselves made so much money off of Hotel California, which was not completely an original tune, to say the least. For better or for worse, all you composers out there can relate to the concept of not being able to start with a tabula rasa or a clean slate whenever you write music. The truth of the matter is that a lot of information is up there in your subconscious before it materializes into a DAW or onto music paper. It's almost impossible to write completely original music. And all the great composers over the years, as I mentioned in my video on plagiarism have copied each other. I mean, it's no secret, and it happens all the time. It's just the tone of this Don Henley rampage that is so disconcerting, and it smacks of someone who thinks that he owns music. And how further from the truth can that be? The concept of fair use is very much related to making citations for a research paper. I don't know if you've ever written a term paper or an essay or a thesis before, but when you write a significant research report or public article that is going to appear in a newspaper or in a blog on a website, you really have to cite your references. So you're allowed to quote other sources if it's going to be part of an argument that you're trying to present and to establish evidence to bolster your argument in an essay or a term paper, or research report, or a book. And you really should do that because it establishes credibility. And I find that the fair use of musical excerpts in the same way is like making a citation that appears in a publication. It helps to bolster your argument, and in music to provide realistic examples of the concepts you're trying to teach as an educator. Here's where I don't understand where the Don Henleys and Don Felders and the big publishing and record label companies are coming from. Don't they realize that every time a YouTube is created, and there are millions and millions that are created every single day, that every time like a music educator wants to use an excerpt from a famous recording, that is actually a positive thing for them, that they're getting free PR and marketing. I mean, how many times have you listened to a cover artist do a cover of original material from some other famous artist that you'd never heard of before? And then you're like, oh, wow, that's a beautiful song. I'd love to check out the original version. And pretty soon you're hopping onto Spotify and you're like, wow, I really love the original version as well. I'd love to download it from iTunes or from Google Play or from Amazon, get the MP3 or something, so I can listen to it on my cell phone or whatever. And so by preventing YouTubers from citing musical excerpts, they're actually preventing the sale of their own material, which makes no sense at all. In this day and age of social media, the more talk about a subject, the better it is for your marketing and your sales. So in conclusion, here are my 4 key suggestions to the powers that be. Number 1, the regulatory authorities should definitely allow the citation of excerpts of music. And I'm not talking about the entire song here. I'm talking about 10 to 30 seconds of, little song clips. As long as it's for educational purposes, music lessons and things like that, I don't see the harm in that. If you're going to try to make money off of somebody else's recording, like you see these lyric videos a lot of times, it's not really their music. It's not their lyrics. All they're doing is showing the lyrics on the screen, things like that. I don't think that's a fair use. I think that's more an example of somebody jumping somebody else's train and trying to profit from it, having done like zero original work in the process. I'm talking more about educational material, music lessons, music theory, understanding song structure, chord relationships, intervals, melodies, orchestration, arrangement. There's just a host of topics that you can cover as a music educator by citing previous well-known recordings. Number 2, split the monetization ad revenues fairly across all the parties concerned. So let's say I was talking about a David Bowie or a Beatles song in a music video. Well, then I should be willing to give up a huge percentage to whoever owns the rights, the composers, the lyricists, the publishers, and the record labels. I think it's only fair in that instance that the ad revenues from that video are split evenly and fairly across all the parties concerned, as well as the music video creator or the YouTuber. Third, I would require that any time you use a musical excerpt in a video, that you post in a visible manner like, maybe in yellow italics or something, not too big, but big enough so that you can read the title of the song, the performing artist, the composers, and also the publisher and record label, so that we're clear that you're giving credit where it's due. And finally, fourth, I would suggest that if you're going to use a musical excerpt in your video, that you provide links below the video in the description box where viewers can click on it to actually purchase the song from Google Play, iTunes, Amazon, Nimbit, what have you. And these 4 suggestions I think would make a lot of sense. They're reasonable, they're fair and just, and they support the concept of free speech and free expression. And most importantly, these suggestions will help music educators and YouTubers share and spread the love and appreciation of music worldwide. Well, that's all I have to say on this subject. I welcome your comments and feedback on this important subject matter, and I look forward to seeing them in the comments section below this video. Thanks so much for watching. Glad you could be with me. Have a great day.